Welcome back into Good Morning Maryland. Now to that exclusive story here. Most teens have their minds on after-school activities, maybe hanging out with friends, but for hundreds of young people in Maryland, their freedom is much more restricted. WMAR 2 News' Mark Roper continues our in-depth look at convicted teenagers living within Maryland's juvenile justice system. He's live at the DJS office in downtown Baltimore with that story. Mark.
Good morning, Chris. You know, the group of teens that we talked with are minors, or they entered the system as juveniles. So we are keeping their identities anonymous to protect their future. And we're also keeping the specifics of their cases confidential. And we were given exclusive access to these kids who share their experiences of what it was like for them to be incarcerated.
Despite the locked gates, fences, and barbed wire, the Victor Cullen Center is not a prison, but it is a facility where dozens of kids find themselves incarcerated.
I made the choices to be where I'm at now, so all I gotta do is just deal with it now and get it over with, and then go home and just be better.
Once I realized who was actually there in that cell with me while I was in there, and I looked around, I was by myself. All the people that said they cared for me and they do all this stuff for me that I was hanging out with out in the streets. They weren't nowhere to be found.
Victor Cullen Superintendent John Plummer explains the approach the Department of Juvenile Services takes to helping convicted kids become better adults.
We don't fix kids, we help kids manage themselves better. That's our whole goal, so that way they can manage themselves and deal with whatever outside stressors.
Behavioral psychologist Dr. Laurel Estupinan-Kane believes the path to success for many kids begins the moment they first step onto campus.
From that first interaction, I think we just build from there. I mean, the rapport is seeing them every day. I might not see them for counseling every day in a formal way, but I see the youth constantly.
At Victor Cullen, the Maryland State Department of Education oversees a curriculum featuring 6 hours of classes 5 days a week with state-certified teachers. Teenagers can prepare to earn their diploma for when they return back home and are back in school or earn a GED.
I never went to school, so me coming into the system, I was still in the 9th grade. But coming up here, like still doing what I gotta do in school and everything, I should be graduating before my class.
Many of these kids now expressing hope for their future for the first time in their lives.
For the first time, I was being really held accountable for my anger issues. I used to black out. Now I really gotta think twice, because I'm not trying to stay in placements. I'm trying to work on getting my GED so that when I go home, I could just go to work without having to violate my probation. And then I was thinking about either becoming a mechanic or enlisting in the Marines.
I think I'm gonna be the first in my family to graduate high school, without getting a GED or whatever.
One of the things I tell the youth is you're not necessarily defined by your history. We like this place to be a fresh start for you. You know, yes, you've done some things that have led to you being placed here, but you don't have to live your life being defined by that.
And as you heard, many of these kids are talking about completing their high school education, but they've also made a commitment to their own future by getting their college degree as well. Christian?
Okay, Mark, thanks very much for that. And you know, you've done stories previously in adult prisons. How did that differ from being inside the Victor Cullen Center for Juveniles?
Well, there are some similarities and some differences. For one, you don't see bars, but there is a regimented system that they do have to abide by. They have to get up at a certain time, go to bed at a certain time, and certain places that they have to be throughout the day. It is surrounded by fences, and there are locks that keep them secure in that particular facility. But while you're there, kids can walk the grounds. There's a school there. So there may be some similarities to the prison, but it doesn't have the harsh life that one might expect or see inside a prison. And that's definitely something that the people at DGS want to point out, that these kids are not in prison, that they are in a residential placement facility as they're working on improving their lives and working on their future.
Okay, Mark, thanks very much for that. Just rare access behind the walls there, and we will have more of that tomorrow on Good Morning Maryland as well. Thanks very much.